fastest show in sports.
Not many people in this audience are fans of auto racing. We get that. It's one of those.
Ed, you saying those two words, we've just lost the viewing audience. But go ahead.
We did. You say motorsports, and they go, "I'm out of here." But no, this is
Right.
it's something entirely different. Kyle Larson made the declaration that
Tell people who Kyle Larson is. 'Cause a
Kyle
lot of people
Larson
don't know.
is a driver on the NASCAR circuit. He's a very successful driver on the NASCAR circuit on whatever the series is. They change names of the series at a whim depending on who the sponsor is. So you have what used to be the NASCAR Winston Cup Series about 1,000,000 years ago. But Kyle Larson is a very successful driver. He says that when The Legend of Ricky Bobby came out, the movie, that it absolutely turned NASCAR into a joke. The movie was a joke. Have you ever seen it?
8-pound, 5-ounce baby Jesus. Oh my God, it's classic. It's a goofball movie, and it's I don't know.
No, but he's right.
Really, you're going to blame Ricky Bobby for the fall of NASCAR? Stop
No,
it, Kyle.
I'm not saying that I'm blaming them for the fall of NASCAR, but Kyle Larson is correct. That movie came out and it turned NASCAR again into a caricature of nothing more than the redneck dipstick who basically has the intelligence factor of a lug nut who's out there racing in the weekends, and it made fun of people who are rednecks. It made fun of people who are rednecks at the dinner table. But he's right. It did put a joke factor onto NASCAR, and that was just part of the reason why NASCAR slid. Look, NASCAR was at a time ready to become the 5th major sport in this country. There's even a time, when I go back to it, when they were talking about it being the 4th major sport in America, behind football, basketball, baseball, then NASCAR, and then hockey. And some people, Mike, even thought that NASCAR was going to overtake basketball one day, or overtake baseball one day, as being one of the top 2 or 3. And that's the kind of look that you get from people on that. They thought it was going to be big.
All right,
and then NASCAR screwed themselves
then.
because...
I watch NASCAR and I want to get some of them French fry potatoes.
See, there you go.
My God, Ed.
That's it.
No,
That's what
I
people
get
think
it.
of when they think
I
of
get it.
NASCAR
And
fans.
there's a lot more to it. Look, one of my favorite. I can't believe we never ran this story at the Post. I don't know why. But anyway, Joe Gibbs, of course, former Washington NFL Hall of Fame
Who's now
coach.
a major owner in NASCAR.
Right, major owner in NASCAR, Gibbs Racing. Actually had Joey Logano, who was I think he's still the youngest guy to ever win a NASCAR Series 1 race. At 19. But at any rate, I was in the pit at the Brickyard 400, and it was the coolest thing. I had the headphones on, and I got to do, and I got to hear the spotter, like one wide, 2 wide. And it was just so, and there was a science behind it. There was a much more than, but yeah, part of NASCAR culture. It's funny. You would think NASCAR would be on the rebound with the elimination of DEI and the celebration of white culture in America now. You would think Trump would mandate, in fact, that he would send federal troops to stop some of the Formula One racing so the NASCAR could thrive and white culture could thrive again in the South.
Hey, there's another thing, Mike. We got to be real careful of that. The next Formula One race that comes to America, you got to be careful. There'll be DEI and ICE agents standing there waiting to go, wait a minute, aren't you from Portugal? Wait a minute, you're from Spain.
Yeah.
Out of this country. We're taking you out right now. Send them out. Deport them.
Yeah. I think, look, I don't know if it definitely did parody the whole country fried bumpkin part of NASCAR, but it was just, it was a funny Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly movie. I didn't think much more of it than that. And NASCAR, remember, in the years after Darrell Waltrip died in an awful car accident, there was inexperienced
Dale Earnhardt.
I'm sorry, Dale Waltrip. Dale Earnhardt died when the God, what was his name? Not the Eliminator, the Intimidator. The Intimidator died in that accident, and at God, was it where was it? Was at Daytona.
It was at Daytona.
Shoot, it was at
and it
Daytona
wasn't even
500.
a bad accident.
It wasn't even bad. It was like one of those things. It wasn't a fire, and you just had a collision against the wall that killed him. But the intervening years after that, NASCAR took off, and
Yes.
And drivers like Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart and all these guys became like part of the fabric of American sports in a way that, Cale Yarborough
Well,
or
that's
Richard
just it. They were
Petty.
Americana. NASCAR
Yeah,
pushed
they were
itself as the
Americana. They were
American
part
race.
of this.
Daytona
they
is
were
still the
part-
great
but-
American race.
Hey, wait. Tell me if this sounds like Keith Jackson. Oh, look at everybody. Welcome to the Talladega 500. We got Cale Yarborough and Richard Petty. But I used to watch those races
That
when I was a
one
kid.
of the
I
best
thought they were.
Fatty Arbuckle impersonations I've ever heard.
Oh man, you're harsh. But true. But the bottom line is there was it had this worldwide popularity. I think you have more reasons than I do why it didn't resonate over time. I also think Formula One did something that, and I don't even know that it was their fault originally, but when Netflix asked them to do, hey, we want to do this F1 series where we get into the personal lives of these guys, oh my God, people took off on that. They were like, wait a minute, we're gonna find out who this guy is. Well, we're gonna learn who, I don't know, whoever it is, Michael Schumacher, whoever they did at the time, or who was coming up in F1. That sort of turned into these guys are people.
Right.
NASCAR could learn a thing or two about
see, Mike,
letting people in letting people in altogether.
NASCAR didn't want to do that. The sponsors didn't want to do that. They didn't want to take a chance on revealing anything that would stop the brand, because it's all being concerned about. You have a driver who's sponsored by a company, and the company may not like something that actually is said about the driver or about their lifestyle. So you have to keep them away. NASCAR has kept people away from learning about the drivers, while Formula One has opened up and said, hey, we got good-looking people who are hanging around in good-looking relationships. They got great-looking girlfriends. Don't knock yourself. They're in Monaco. They're in exotic places around the world, while NASCAR is just a bunch of grease monkeys hanging out at a small track somewhere in Bristol. Now, people are going to grief me for that, but that's exactly what the idea is. NASCAR, more than any other major sport in this country, NASCAR has shot itself in the foot more times. They don't have any feet left. They got no toes left. They're basically walking around on crutches these days. They keep changing the rules in the midstream. In the middle of a season, they change a rule. I mean, just because it doesn't fit them for whatever, they change a rule on the car. They change a rule that the driver has to undergo. They make a change in the last second. And the fans are going, what the hell? What are we doing here? You're changing the rules again on us. And then they came up with this playoff scenario that didn't quite make it. No, NASCAR has made every wrong move possible, and they have hurt themselves. They're still a major sport, but they don't sell out like they used to.
Well, it's a major sport. When you say major sport, I mean it's a major minor sport. It's not a big revenue team sport that you think, but you still have millions and billions of
There's a lot of money in NASCAR.
I know, but I'm saying, like, just as a sort of, when I say niche sport, like we always give this argument about hockey. I love hockey. I watch hockey, and I got into it because I started covering it, and I got to know the players. If I wasn't, I would have never went to a hockey game. And what was the function of that? Well, it's like, it's like, are people into the big three? Like the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. I don't know. I don't think so. But the bottom line is, it's a niche sport in some ways, because not everybody consumes it.
That's all, folks.